Hello, happy campers. I'm Spike.
I am the magnificent Chris.
And we are geeking out.
Too much?
No, not too much, because after all, right now we do have more Charter Spectrum viewers than ABC, ESPN, Nat Geo, and FX combined. The strike goes on in Hollywood and a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about. But you got stuff to talk about too. You got a couple of reviews you want to kick in, and we're actually doing a back rack video this week. So, it is September 3rd, 2023. Happy Labor Day, y'all, from all the blue collar workers who don't get the day off to all the white collar workers who do.
I don't know what's
Thank you, FDR.
So messed up.
So, not to sound like a communist weasel or anything, but what up with that management? Anyway, it has been a hopping little week, 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since we've last got together on this, and most likely be another 2 weeks, because yours truly has a son turning 30 this coming Saturday.
Don't believe it.
I don't believe it either. I'm going to cut his leg off and count the rings, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We've got him some birthday party lined up. Nothing a 30-year-old man would want, but hey, it's being done by his mom and dad, and it ain't him. So. Yeah. So, what's going on, Chris? What it is? What's up? What's happening?
What is happening? There's a lot of happening. So far, we're going to get into some death list. Yes, that's right. There's a death list. A lot of people died.
Death Watch is in full effect. Yes.
Yeah. I got two really quick reviews of just things that some people might be curious about, and if they should go check it out. And I will tell you, yes.
Yeah.
So I guess we can start with the reviews first.
Well, let's start out by giving a quick little preview coming up on Back Rack Video.
Oh, yeah.
We're starting our second season. This coming out this week, we've got an episode called Refund Movies. We've discussed refund movies before on this show. Basically, these are the things we want our money back.
Mm-hmm.
We know we'll never get our time back, but we do want our money back. So
I would like to have them both, if possible.
Yeah, some things are just not happening. But I am kind of working on more back racks in the future. We're going to do a quick little mini-series going over some episodes, picking the history of the Saturday morning cartoon. We'll start in the 50s, and we'll just dedicate an episode to each decade, right up through the 90s when they died an ignominious death. So keep an eye out for that one.
Sounds good.
But you've got reviews. Let's get reviewy, Chris.
All right, first review I'm going to do is The Equalizer, Part 3, starring Denzel Washington. If you have not seen the Denzel Washington action films, The Equalizer, it's probably because these are movies that we know existed, but did anybody actually go watch them? Because you got to remember, these movies also came out at the same time as like John Wick films, and everybody went to see John Wick. Equalizer 3, I got to watch it. I will let you know that I have only seen the first one, have not seen the second one. I still got to watch that. The third one, I went because I was wanting a good action film. And I got what I wanted. I wanted to see thugs get beat up, and that's exactly what I got. You know?
Kind of like the Equalizer franchise, and I use that very loosely, because to me, I have nothing against Denzel Washington, but Edward Woodward will always be the Equalizer to me. Yes. But that's my Equalizer.
Yes.
But it's always struck me as kind of a death wish with training wheels. Basically.
Yes, pretty much. Yes, that's exactly it.
Proceed.
So if you want a good action film where you just want to see bullies get beat up all the time and get what they deserve, then you will definitely want to go watch Equalizer 3. It is a good action film. He wastes no time. Like if they come to him, it's like, okay, so you know I'm here. We'll have this conversation. They will leave and be like, we'll be back. except for that night he'll go and to pay them a visit, and it's not a pleasant visit. So, you know, it's a really good movie. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, really good.
So, Equalizer 3 happened.
Yes.
Well, this is a quick review. It's like 5 minutes.
well, these are things that I wasn't expecting to do a review on, but these are things that I decided to watch and was like, man, this is actually really good. You know, I was like, this is really good. I think I'm just going to throw these in here because, you know, people might be curious on like, hey, you know, should I not? I don't know, and all that stuff. So.
I've gotten to the point I won't give movies the benefit of the doubt because they do cost so much and they're so long and they're so formulaic and repetitive anymore. I'll just turn on BritBox and watch Open All Hours for the 4th time. Just cycle right through. But yeah, look that up if you're wondering. It's one of the better sitcoms that's ever been done. All right, Chris, rule of 5. Where would you put Equalizer 3? Oh, he's not going Mr. 5. 5 o'clock this time.
What was 3?
All right, let's do the quick review. 5 is Saturday night with a date. 4 is the afternoon matinee. 3 is on Blu-ray or DVD. 2 is on Netflix. 1's on Pluto TV. And 0 is not even drunk.
I'll give it a 3.
Give it a 3.
0.5. It's worthy watching, but it's an action film. There's not a heavy plot. There's not a heavy, you know, it's just this guy who used to be, you know, whatever he was with the government that was a ghost and killed a lot of people. Now he found this small town in Italy and he just he loves the people there and he's just like, you know what, I want to stay here. And then, of course, a gang starts to move in, starts to mess with people, and starts messing with the wrong people, which, I mean, the Equalizer himself, and the Equalizer decides to show them that. So.
Time out for a minute, okay?
What?
It's Italy.
Yes.
Home of the mafia, right? Allegedly. A gang is moving in on this small Italian town. This gang is going in and they're acting like gangs that take over small towns do.
Yes.
They're going in, they're busting stuff up, they're busting people up.
Yep.
They're just making things miserable for everybody.
Yep.
They do not notice Denzel Washington is sipping a latte in the middle of this town. The only black man within about a 1 hour drive in Italy, and they had to go pick on that town. Right? Right?
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
All right. Just saying. You know, you could have found, you know, like a place in Ghana, a place in, I don't know, Sudan, a place in Ethiopia, little town getting picked on by, boy, there are gang leaders all over the place down in that part of, well, not so much in Ethiopia anymore, but in that part of the world, let's say. But that's all right. Denzel, you be you. Denzel Washington is how old now? He's over 60 for sure. I honestly don't know, nor do I care, really. Denzel, not my... I watched Glory for Matthew Broderick, not for Denzel Washington. That shows you where I'm coming from.
Wow.
So...
Wow. Would rather watch it for Morgan Freeman.
Okay, Chris. What else we got? You got 2 of them.
Yes. This is for all the nerds out there who loves anime.
Nerds! Yeah.
Okay? All you who love anime. I have decided to take an anime that I have never seen before and watch a live-action TV series based off of it. I am talking about One Piece. Okay?
Which is pretty much who Netflix was targeting that at.
Yes.
People who wouldn't watch anime.
Of course, I was not going to watch this at all. But then I started to hear people who are fans of the anime say, oh, they did it. They actually did it. Somebody actually took the source material, turned it into a live action, and kept it original to the source material. They broke the curse. And I kept seeing more and more people talk about this. So I was like, you know what? I want to give it a shot. And man, okay, again, listen, when it comes to anime, I have this problem with the animation. One Piece has the animation that I just makes a quiver in my stomach that I just do not want to watch. That's why I never watched it. I know it's famous in the anime world and all that, but I just could not give two craps about it.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am watching the live action series, and I am having so much fun. Like, I'm having absolute fun. It is crazy. It is stupid. It is funny. But it is an adventure that is taking me somewhere that I did not know I needed to go. And I am tagging along with it because it is absolutely amazing. I, again, don't know the original source material of the anime. But if it is just like that, then I'm down for it. I'm totally down for it. You'll see One Piece live action on everything. You're going to see it. It's everywhere right now. I will have to say, if you love One Piece and you're worried about this live action series, especially it being a Netflix series, have no worries. Watch it. I put a stamp of approval on this.
Well, he likes One Piece. We do need to have a discussion about anime. Hard enough. It's September has finally arrived, and that means it's settled right into my throat. We do need to have a discussion about anime and its weaknesses and strengths sometime, but not right now. Now, our rule of 5 actually changes a little bit when it comes to streaming and TV shows.
Yeah.
So it still goes from 0 to 5. 5 is worth buying on Blu-ray DVD. 4 is worth buying the subscription just to watch it. 3 is borrowing somebody else's login so you can watch it. 2 is waiting for it to show up for free with ads somewhere. 1 is just stumbling across it on Pluto TV. And 0 is go play outside. Where would you put One Piece live action on Netflix, Christopher?
Like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with this series. It is really, really fun. The characters are fun and funny. I will give this a 4.
Gives it a 4. It's worth getting the Netflix subscription just for this.
Yeah. Until the season's over with, then cancel it until the next season, and then, go back.
Quick pro tip for all of you who want to try out a streaming service. Almost all of them have prepaid cards. Get the prepaid card, put that in instead of your payment information, and then, or else, if it requires payment information, put it in, wait until you're logged in, wait until the account is set up, and then delete it. And then go run with the gift card on it.
Yep.
So, that way you don't have to worry about having to remember to cancel it later on. So I'm actually getting things to watch. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Something we're not going to be watching are things ESPN on Spectrum. Charter is the same as Spectrum, but all of the Disney networks are gone off of Spectrum. And now Charter Spectrum is saying this may be permanent, which means this ain't just about the cash. This isn't just about how much. See, the company that owns these cable channels gets what's called a carriage fee or a license fee. It's a certain little fee that every subscriber who gets that channel, the cable company collects it and sends it off to that network, to the owner of that network. And Disney owns ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, ESPN Plus, ESPN this, ESPN that, plus Nat Geo, plus the ABC network. And I don't know if it's affecting WTVQ here in the Lexington area. I haven't bothered to do the research because I don't subscribe to cable anymore. Closest I got is Fernley TV. That's like $8 a month. But it does for my Svengoolie, which we need to talk about too because they just showed the original Frankenstein last night. But the Spectrum is one of those that will actually disrupt service for these channels just so their customers will know they're being gouged again by the people who own these networks. Representative for Spectrum has come straight out and said this isn't just about the cash. This isn't just about the carriage fees. This is about something else, and they won't get into it. I suspect this is the same thing that what Disney is wanting from I keep wanting to call it Comcast. It's Spectrum Charter Spectrum, one or the other. I think what Disney wants, they want a bigger piece of the ad pie, because the cable industry has been shrinking. Over the past, since the economy started turning down, it actually causes cable TV subscriptions to start going up a little bit. People can't afford to go out as much as they used to. So they would rather spend it on a cable subscription than... A cable subscription is going to run you about $100 a month. If you go out to eat now for a family of 4, you're looking at minimum $50. Just go to frickin' McDonald's. Plus, going to the movie, that's another $15 a piece. So that's another $60 on top. It's $110 for one night out. Or we drop like $80, $90 on a cable subscription, and we can send out for pizza. And that takes care of us for the month, although the pizza might last an hour. So, cable's starting to make a comeback. I think what's happening is what Roku went through with YouTube. For years, the Roku streaming boxes did not have a YouTube app. They had unofficial ones, the ones that people would cobble together that would work, but they weren't strictly legal, end quote. But as long as they didn't make any money off of it, there wasn't really anything that could be done. It took Google years before they finally came up with an official YouTube app, because Roku wanted a piece of all the ad revenue. And Google does ads like nobody else on the planet. They're the biggest ad server around. They did not want to share. It finally got to the point there were so many Roku users who were not on YouTube, it started affecting YouTube's numbers. And Google finally caved in. They came to some kind of agreement. Now there's YouTube on Roku. I get the feeling Disney wants a piece of Spectrum's ad pie, because this is something else that doesn't get talked around a lot. If you're watching cable television, a cable channel like ESPN, Nickelodeon, FX, any of these other, USA, TBS, and you see local ads, that's coming from your local cable provider. That's your local cable company splicing those in. Usually these, what will happen is these cable channels will run a certain number of house ads. It's what they call it. I'm getting a little technical, getting into the tech terms here. But they're called house ads. They're ads for other shows on the network. So like TBS might show ads for AEW on Saturday night, or they might show ads for the Seinfeld marathon or the Office marathon, or whatever they're doing. During the time they're playing those house ads, they come up with a schedule for these things, so that way all the local cable companies will know at this particular time we'll be showing house ads. The cable companies can then show their local ads while the house ads are running for the national feed. They can show the local ads and make a little scratch back to help offset the cost of the network. I think what's happening is Disney wants a piece of that local ad budget, because we've been talking for months now about how Disney keeps shooting themselves in their silly little white cartoony foot. They have lost $1 billion on projects, just on movie projects this year. They're losing money hand over fist on a bunch of these other properties they own. Lucasfilm hasn't turned a profit in a couple of years. Marvel hasn't turned a profit since Endgame. And so they're sucking wind, and they've got this huge bill. I've talked about it before on this show. They got this huge bill coming up. Comcast is getting ready to dump the rest of Hulu on top of Disney, because Comcast, who owns NBC, and Disney, which owns ABC, they are the two primary equity holders of Hulu who are left. Okay, Disney doesn't want Hulu because they have Disney Plus, but Comcast wants out because now they have Peacock. So they don't want the streaming service either. And they can't just flush it because then we'd be leaving all that cash on the table. So Comcast exercised an option, which was in their right, to force Disney to give them however many billions of dollars in cash for their equity in Hulu. I think it's sometime in 2024, early 2025, I can't remember. But it's coming up, and Disney is sweating absolute cartoon Roger Rabbit style bullets here because they know they're going to, we're talking about something in the neighborhood of $28 billion. Now, this wouldn't necessarily make the federal government blink, but it would sure as heck make one of the states blink. It would even make California blink to have to cough up $28 billion in cash in a lump sum payment. Whether that's actually going to happen, I don't know, but Disney is scrambling right now to try to head off that particular disaster. Because if anything puts Disney in Apple's arms, Apple could drop $28 billion in cash. They don't care. But because they've all the ad revenue that doesn't go to Google or Microsoft goes to Apple. So I think that's what's happening there, and that's why I pointed out when we started the show, we are going to have more Charter Spectrum viewers on this show, on Geekin Out, than all the Disney networks put together will have until this is finally settled. If it's settled, because Spectrum is saying this could be permanent, that's why I'm thinking they're looking to change more than just the cash flow.
Well, that plus Disney is very stingy, and they don't want to say that they're wrong. Or
well, Disney won't admit they're wrong. They're stingy with people they shouldn't be stingy with, and generous with people they shouldn't. Because we've talked before about go ahead, Scuttlebutt. The Scuttlebutt has it that
the Scuttlebutt.
All these little social justice warriors are hiding like student loan payments and mortgages and stuff in movie budgets, which is, let's face it, that's felony federal charges if it ever, that is federal felony fraud if it ever comes to light and goes to court. So this is what happens when you fool around, so to speak. They'll find out. The truth will always out and will always land right on your head like a big old bird blobby. So, you got news-ish stuff for us to review?
Some more news-ish.
More news-ish stuff. You said we got a death report.
Yes, we have a big death list here. There's a lot that has happened this month.
We've been gone for 2 weeks and everybody started dropping like flies. It's like, do we have to do this every day? And although that would probably be about the only way we'd generate any views is if we were to do this every day. But we both have lives to live. We're not monetized on this. We're not making any money off of it. We're doing it for the fun of it because we're both geeks and we got nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon.
That is true. We're losers.
Well, you're half right. Yeah.
That's just rude. That's just rude.
And accurate.
Go ahead. Anyway, we are saying goodbye to some people. Are you ready? Are we ready?
Drum roll.
Bob Barker passed away at 99 years old. Of course, Bob Barker is known for The Price is Right.
And for punching out Adam Sandler, for which he will always be my hero. I am so grateful he made it to age 99. I hope every day he just went down the street to Adam Sandler's house, rung the doorbell, and as soon as Adam said, "Oh, hello, Bob." I hate Adam Sandler.
That'd be great.
There's a whole refund movie industry right there for Adam Sandler movies.
Oh man, yeah.
Jim Carrey without the funny, and Jim Carrey wasn't funny.
Man, that's going deep there.
Okay, who else croaked?
Well, we got Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville.
Okay,
Jimmy Buffett.
I'm going to say something that will get me some heat. I'm not going to miss him. I don't care. I don't care about Jimmy Buffett. I don't care about Jimmy Buffett, or as they would say in certain parts of Yorkshire, buffet. I don't care about Jimmy Buffett. I don't Buffett, Duffett, Wuffett, whatever.
Tuffet.
I don't care about margaritas. They're overrated drinks. I don't care about parrots. They're overrated birds. I don't care about the Florida Keys because they're overrated keys.
You're ripping on somebody's death? What is wrong with you?
Considering, I remember the days when Jimmy Buffett didn't have 2 dimes to rub together after Margaritaville came and went, and then in the late 80s, nobody wanted anything to do with him. He's like the ultimate one-hit wonder. But he just wouldn't give up. He would sit there and he plowed his last dime, every dime he could beg, borrow, and steal into building a Margaritaville-style lifestyle. And people responded. He was a lifestyle brand by the time he died. He hasn't been relevant since, 1980? Something like whenever Margaritaville came out. You had to be high as a kite to like Margaritaville, and you still did. Overrated.
I can't believe you're riffing on somebody's death.
I'm not riffing on somebody's death. I'm riffing on Jimmy Buffett's death. He got all he could get out of his life. I'll just show him out the door. Who else kicked it this week?
Arlene Sorkin, best known for the original Harley Quinn, and was Days of Our Lives star. She passed away at 67 years old.
Mm. Yeah. Now, she was the original voice actor for Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah, they actually based Harley
series.
Quinn off of character that she played on.
Yeah. So she was the inspiration for it. And she's always going to... And the thing is, because of Margot Robbie, very few people remember her from the animated series. The diehards remember her. But other than that... So at 67, that's a little early. I'd rather see people get to their mid-70s than I consider they've led full lives anymore. But so, sad to hear that one.
But anyway... Next, we have 2 WWE stars that passed away, and I think in the same week.
Yes, that was weird.
Like, they just, okay.
That was very, very weird.
Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
Bray Wyatt was 36, and Terry Funk was 79.
Okay, so I'm an old wrestling geek. Let me pile on this. I got 3 things to say, okay? First, let's talk about Terry Funk. Terry Funk, 79. He's known now for garbage wrestling. Okay, he's known now for the extreme style. Where he went to his last tour in Japan, he wound up the junk promotion over there. He spent a little time in ECW. That's all anybody remembers. Same thing almost happened to Cactus Jack until Terry Funk told him, Mick Foley, who was Cactus Jack at the time. And basically Terry told him, you don't want this to be your legacy. So that's where he came up with Mankind. And Vince McMahon came up with Mankind, and then Mick Foley came up with Dude Love as an answer to it. And then he gets to juggle all 3 of these, and he gets a far more fulfilling career. Now Mick Foley dresses up as Santa Claus and gets to go around helping all these kids and stuff. And he's a beloved veteran of the old school wrestling because of Terry Funk and saying, don't be stupid like I was. Terry Funk, the last of the old school Funk family, no relations, and they actually weren't related to each other very much. But Terry Funk definitely left an impression, and I'm kind of sorry to see him go. Bray Wyatt. His real name was Wyndham Rotundo. Okay.
Great name.
Hold on. Mike Rotundo. That was Mike Rotundo's son. I don't know if you remember Mike Rotundo from the 80s and 90s, WWF, pretty much. He and Barry Windham. Barry Windham was NWA back in the 80s and 90s. Those two were thick as thieves. They were best buddies. They're always hanging out together and everything. So he named his son after his friend, but instead of calling him Barry Rotundo, which was like just inviting him to get beaten up on a daily basis, he named him Wyndham Rotundo, which of course invited him to be beat up in school on an hourly basis. But I guess it toughened him up. But Bray Wyatt came in. Oh man, I remember when Bray Wyatt first came in. He came out of NXT. They put him together with a couple of big, huge, giant guys, and I can't even think of their names now. One of them actually passed away a couple of years ago when he joined AEW. But those three coming in and just hearing the lights would go out, people would start turning on the little flashlights on their phones to be his fireflies, and he would come out looking like he just stepped off the set of Cape Fear. He had like a Hawaiian shirt and a white fedora, and he would just come out all spooky light and everything. He would just sit in a rocking chair and have tell his two goons to go out and kill whoever was in the ring. Spooky as all get out, moody as all get out. Fantastic gimmick, but it's the WWF, WWE. They don't know what to do with gimmicks anymore. They don't know how to get anybody over. They forced him to scrap it. Vince McMahon soured on him until he changed his gimmick a little bit and started being the monster and everything, and managed to reinvent himself. And that's where the Firefly Funhouse with the puppets came and all this other stuff. So he's very, very, very creative. Probably could have gone into his late 50s easy. He could have easily had another 20 years in the industry. Just getting behind the scenes, if nothing else. He couldn't go in the ring anymore, which I understand he was having a lot of coronary problems toward the end. So where Terry Funk died basically of old age, he was 79. For Bray Wyatt, it was coronary issues. He was overweight, considerably so. He had slimmed down a lot from his Husky Harris days in NXT, but nobody wants to say it, but I'll go ahead and say it because there's evidence that certain medical implementations that can be done to supposedly prevent certain illnesses cause myocarditis and other cardiac issues. Whether he was actually injected with that, I don't know. But I do remember WWE was strongly encouraging people to to take some shots, we'll say. Keep their shots up to date. Quite frankly, we've seen a lot, and I mean a hideously large amount of professional and amateur athletes dying of coronary-related issues over the last, say, 3 years, 2-3 years. Do with that what you will. And the third thing I was going to talk about, this has nothing to do with deaths, but from what I heard last night, AEW just fired CM Punk for cause. They just turned him loose. I'm just going to say it right now, you people, Tony Khan, you're a freaking idiot. You're a flaming moron. He is so... Tony Khan is the guy who owns AEW, All Elite Wrestling. He just re-signed the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega to new contracts. So I guess we should have seen the writing on the wall, because those three guys, especially the Young Bucks, hate CM Punk because CM Punk resembled discipline. He was trying to put discipline into AEW. Their Saturday night show, Collision, was basically CM Punk's baby to deliver. And it really was starting to get the vibe of old NWA Saturday night on TBS, the old 605 shows. That's over now. CM Punk apparently is officially out because what happened was they just had a huge card in Britain, in England, and sold out Wembley Stadium. That's like 82,000 paid tickets. And but Jungle Jack Perry, he, believe it or not, that's something Perry, 90210 Perry, that guy.
Luke Perry?
Luke Perry. That's Luke Perry's son, Jack Perry. And Jack Perry apparently was told by a bunch of people backstage not to do a particular stunt he was going to do by throwing himself through a glass windshield because of injury purposes. And he was like, no, I'm going to do it. So that when CM Punk finally shows up to handle his end, they go and say, look, you got more stroke than we do. You go talk some sense into him. So CM Punk goes and tells Perry, don't go throwing yourself through a glass windshield. You're going to hurt yourself. And he's like, and of course he can't say anything because he's outranked. But then when they go on the air and they do the match, Jack Perry actually looks at the camera and says, well, cry me a river, I'm doing it anyway, and literally says that, and then he gets thrown through a car windshield. Then when the match is over, he comes backstage. CM Punk's at gorilla position, just behind the curtains leading out to the arena, because he's next on the card, and he sees him come in here, he sees him come up, walk by the gorilla position. Don't know if he gave him side-eye, don't know if he flipped him off, don't know if he laughed at him, don't know what he did. Whatever, apparently CM Punk grabbed him around the neck and thumped him. So that's why CM Punk is gone now, and Jack Perry gets to sit home getting on a paid vacation for the next 2 weeks, apparently. Tony Khan, you're a friggin' idiot. You just threw away your entire company because you got 3 egomaniacs who are just determined circle jerk, and they want you right in the middle to catch all of it.
Damn.
So AEW is dead to me. AEW is dead to me. I can't bring myself to watch WWE either right now. I'm just so burnt out on Marvel, on DC, on all things Lucas related, and now I'm burnt out on professional wrestling. So it's just like Punk and FTR were the 2 things I actually paid any attention to. I'm done. So I'm done ranting. Anything else before we wrap this? Because we still got to get through a back rack video. So.
Well, I mean,
go ahead. What else we got? What else we got?
So anyway, James Gunn is getting some heat because he decided that the Superman is not as young as what I guess everybody else thought was going to be.
Yeah.
So now they're upset with him because they're like, well, why didn't you just keep Henry Cavill?
Yeah, because he was an older guy, and that's why they got rid of him, because he was too old to play the part.
Yeah.
Which is what everybody wanted because they liked Henry Cavill.
Yep.
And so that's why we can't have nice things.
That is true. So yeah, he's getting big heat because of that. So
honestly, I know people are holding out hope that James Gunn is going to be able to turn DC around. You couldn't turn DC around if you had the Titanic rammed up its butt. You're not moving that thing around. I look into the crystal ball, and I look into the crystal gut, and I see Warner Brothers Discovery is going to wind up selling DC to somebody, probably within the next 2 to 3 years. It's going to be Discovery that's going to force it. They're going to force Warner to diversify it and just get it out the door. And that'll be the end of the Warner Brothers monopoly on DC properties, which would probably be the best thing for them. And of course, if DC does get sold, all those employment contracts for DC talent belong to Warner Brothers Discovery. Whoever buys DC will probably pretty much have a clean slate, which means they can hire whatever talent they want, which means all the little woke wankers that are in there now, just like they're doing with the SAG-AFTRA strike.
We really need a shirt that says woke wankers.
No, we don't, because then they think I'm a woke wanker. I ain't doing that.
That's funny. It's funny.
I've been watching way too much BritBox, and Acorn TV. I've been watching way too much of that. So, what else happened?
Alec Baldwin could be charged again for manslaughter after the fatal death on the Rust set of Helena Hutchinson. Apparently some more evidence of possibly, like, he says that he never pulled the trigger on the gun, but Now the gun expert says that is absolutely impossible for the gun to fire without doing a little.
It depends. It depends. This was I'm guessing, being dust, this was supposed to be a Western of some sort.
Yes,
so I'd imagine they were using revolvers.
Yes.
You don't have to pull the trigger if the hammer, okay, this is your gun. I'm pointing it at Chris, being unsafe. Here's your trigger, okay? Normally, you put your hand here and you pull the trigger, and that causes that. But that doesn't actually hit the bullet. It causes the little mechanism that holds the hammer here, and it causes it to release, and then the hammer falls, hits the primer on the back of the bullet on the cartridge. That fires off the gunpowder goes off, and that sends the bullet projectile going down range. If you have a revolver, okay, and it hasn't been maintained properly,
which apparently it was not,
all it takes, normally the little trigger mechanism going to the hammer is tight and it's lubed in order for it to function. That way it doesn't rust together, and so then it won't fall at all, or the thing won't deteriorate to the point where it just a matter of time before it just falls over on its own and just fires at random. If you have a gun that has not been, a revolver especially, that has not been properly maintained, all it takes is just a percussive hit. Boom. Anything that can make the hammer fall. Doing that can make the hammer fall. If you're waving it around and you start picking up momentum and you start going like this, you're doing this, you're being all funny and stuff because you're Alec Baldwin on the set of a stupid movie called Dust, and boom.
Rust. But yeah.
Rust, dust, must, gust. Either way, it can happen. I don't care what an expert says. Let me tell you what I was taught in the Army when it comes to firearms safety. Every gun is loaded at all times. Even when it's unloaded, it's loaded. You take that sucker apart, you take the bolt out, you take the carriage out, you take everything apart. Okay, now it's unloaded. But as long as that weapon is intact and there is a place where you cannot see, if you cannot see the interior of the chamber, or if you can't see the interior of the chamber, it's loaded. If the little cartridge underneath is inserted, it's loaded. If there are any rounds in any of the chambers of a revolver, it's loaded. And it is deadly. Always. Even when there's blanks in there. You swear there's blanks in there, because that's what killed Jason Lee. Was a blank. Okay, great, it's a blank, but if the cartridge itself goes shooting out at about 600 miles an hour to Jason Lee's head, it's still going to kill him, okay?
You saying Jason. It's Brandon.
Brandon Lee. Jason Lee's, my name is Earl. Either way. That guy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested in that story, you can go and they have released the investigation videos where they had all the actors in the room, including Alec Baldwin, where they interrogated everybody. There's stories on it. And apparently there's all kinds of stuff that was not supposed to happen, but it happened. And I don't blame Alec, but
when crappens happen, they tend to cascade. It's like dominoes. When bad thing happens, if one bad thing happens, okay, if like we're saying, if this revolver is not properly maintained, any kind of jarring can cause that hammer to drop and cause a round to fire off. If this revolver is not being maintained, guaranteed the other weapons are not being maintained properly. If they're not being maintained properly, guess what? You're probably not following all the work safety rules all over the set. And if that's not happening, guess what? You're probably not maintaining your equipment. Guess what? You're probably not safeguarding your actors and the cast and the crew involved in the film. You're not following through on the safeguards. If you're failing on one thing, you're failing on a bunch of things. Okay? Nobody fails on one thing. On these things, if there is one detail that comes out it's like cockroaches. There's at least 10 others. For every problem you see, there's going to be 10 that you're not seeing on the surface. Guaranteed rust or whatever it is. Guaranteed that is a snake bit production.
Yeah. I still don't understand like how he could be charged with manslaughter, period, because even though the gun was in his hand, he's not a gun expert. It was a movie. The person who was in charge of the gun and all the weapons on the movie set should have been charged or looked into more than the actor who has no idea what the hell he was doing.
Well, which is the other thing too, because the original Scuttlebutt had it that Alec Baldwin was goofing around on the set. He was using the weapon irresponsibly. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But
still, they're props.
This is a big old but. Yeah, it's still props. But as Donald Trump has proven 4 times over the last month, you can indict a ham sandwich on anything. You can charge somebody with all kinds of stuff, send it to the grand jury, and get an indictment. Doesn't matter. It's not until it actually gets to criminal court or civil court where you're either arguing the case in front of a judge or in front of a jury. Then it counts. Okay? Sure. And everybody involved in the justice system, whether it's a grand jury, a prosecutor, anybody involved in that, if there is a chance they can just pass the buck on to the next level, they'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. That's when you start indicting ham sandwiches. And Donald Trump, for that matter, because all 4 of these actions that have been taken against Trump, I know I'm going to get yelled at from YouTube, I don't care. All 4 of these actions that are occurring, and all, I think, 66 charges altogether, they're all garbage. I mean, they're doing it as a political persecution, but again, it shows you can indict a ham sandwich. You can charge a ham sandwich with being the worst kind of scum there ever was, and then a grand jury can indict him on it. But that doesn't mean that ham sandwich is going to catch any kind of jail time, or most likely the judge will probably throw the whole thing out unless they see, again, those other 10 cockroaches that the one dead cockroach in the form of the revolver was. If a judge sees those other 10 cockroaches and gets the idea that Baldwin himself is responsible, that's when he's in trouble. So, as long as that sweet, sweet Baldwin money can keep paying. I know they make a fortune being Baldwins, but got to afford an attorney. That's what you got to do.
And in other news, going back to Henry Cavill, apparently he is in talks, or I don't know if this is a rumor. I swear,
if you use the word Witcher, I'm going to punch you.
I don't know if it's a rumor. I don't know if it's in talks or if he has already said yes to the project. But he will be playing. Are you ready? And I want to say I'm okay with this, but he will be playing in the Highlander reboot.
Is Henry Cavill Scottish?
No, he's English. He's not English, but he's from England.
Okay. So at least he's from the right island. Ugh.
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of okay with this.
On.
It's been a while since we had Highlander anything.
Highlander is Scottish, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought with the Claymores.
But there is other Highlanders, remember.
Nobody cares because they only see the Scottish ones.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't even watch that stupid thing, and I know that.
Yeah.
I just noticed red, white, blue. I'm all patriotic here in this episode. We still got a back rank video to do.
Okay. I was waiting for you to hush. All right.
Rock on.
Football player Michael Orr, best known for the movie The Blind Side.
That fool?
Yeah, that was made based off of him. He is suing the family that supposedly adopted him, which is why he's suing them. Everybody's
He's accusing the family of not giving him enough of the money from the movie.
Well, so
we made basically.
So he was underage when they adopted him, but they said that they adopted him.
Yeah.
And they made the movie based off of him
and his
and
adoption,
family.
right?
Yeah. But then he found out that he wasn't actually adopted, and he didn't get no proceeds from anything. The family did. He did not. So now that he's older and he finds out about, hey, they lied to me about all of this, he is now suing the family for...
Or he's like every other football player who has ever lived, except for maybe 6, and those are all white quarterbacks. He's like every other football player. He ran out of cash. He needs to keep up his drug habit, and he's going to sue his family for it. Allegedly. That's just speculation. I have no proof on that. And when it comes to this guy, it's a big old but. I've seen this happen far, far too many times to not be cynical enough to think it might happen this time. That's the good thing of only having 19 views on these videos. We're so small, we're almost lawsuit proof. Almost.
That's so true. All right, next news. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland will be playing the epic game. I don't know what game system it is, but Jake and Dexter from Sony. Yes. Jake and Dexter. You guys remember Jake and Dexter?
No clue. I know Ratchet and Clank.
Right. Yeah. Jake and Dexter, I think, if I remember, Jake was like
a Ratchet and Clank
rabbit-looking thing. It looked a bigger... I don't know. But Sony's doing that.
I am surprised Gran Turismo wound up making more than $5 at the box office. But
yeah, really
that was the first Sony PlayStation movie. But the old Sony playing catch up again. They don't do it first, but they don't do it better either. Nintendo's just eating everybody's lunch on that. We are still hearing murmurs about a Zelda movie. If you really want to make all the money, do that. Best part, Link must not talk. Let Link be mute, let everybody else revolve around him. That, keep your concept, guys. Look at your original concept. The reason Link doesn't talk is because he's your entry into it. If it was me doing a Zelda movie, I would do it first person. All the way through. I'd be Link through the whole thing. If Link doesn't see it or hear it or know of it, the audience doesn't either. That would be a challenge to write. But I'd do it. That I think would be fun. Just for the fun of it. Maybe you would do that for the second movie. Do the first movie so you can actually make all the cash and then you'd be able to afford it. So
nice.
Anywho. I have the feeling we'll probably get Luigi's Mansion before we get Zelda. Just because there's going to be such intense pressure to get it done. Which I won't mind. I prefer Luigi to Mario. I prefer Luigi to Mario anyway. That's how you can tell if somebody is really being a cranky pants, if they prefer Luigi to Mario. Now you're really being counterculture. Anything else on your deck of cards?
That's it.
Hamaluma, because we started wrapping this up when we were 40 minutes into the episode. Now we're 55. So, any final thoughts before we move on and do our backrack video on refund movies coming soon to a platform near you?
I do got one thing. For all the listeners that we do have, which we do have viewers, I would appreciate it. Please, we would love it if you'd like for us to talk about something, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. It's all for free. If you got something that you want to ask us, or if you want a topic that we should talk about, please make a comment below.
Oh, and make sure you go out and get a can of spray paint if you like this episode and tag us. just spray all over your screen a nice Geekin Out logo or something, and that way we'll get much more exposure that way. Because Google keeps yelling at me we're not using enough tags on our videos and stuff, so they don't know who should watch it. So make sure you get the spray paint and just sit there and spray all over your screen. Tag us. Make sure you get everything squared away. And if you're really good, Uncle Spike will let you sit there and sniff the paint after. So.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Fun and mental. So, till next time, Spike.
Chris.
And y'all keep on geeking out.